Hello again to Elliot and Mateo. I have another Christmas story to read tonight. And this one is called The Dalmatian. And it was written by a good friend of our family, Stuart Deacon. Again, it's called The Dalmatian by Stuart C. W. Deacon, Jr. Inside, the author signed this book, and this book is going to be one of Mateo's Christmas gifts this year. It says, "A note from the author. This is a true story. The ups and downs, the tears and smiles. All of it was as real to me then as it is now. It is difficult for little ones to comprehend the loss of a loved one. This story details one of the milestones of understanding I had after my father passed. I'm grateful to my mother, who continues to share stories about the few years they had together and for persevering through the years with resilience and love. It is my hope to live my life in such a way that I may unknowingly take part in answering another's prayer. May no child ever feel forgotten. Stuart Deacon, Jr. My dad was a fireman and my best mate. The thing I wanted more than anything was a fire dog of my own so I could be a fireman too. Mother said there wasn't enough room in our apartment for a real dog, but a Dalmatian stuffed animal would be just fine. I eyed all the stuffed animals at the shops, hoping to find a black and white Dalmatian puppy. I got more worried with each trip. There were no fire dogs waiting for me. Then I had a happy thought. If the shops didn't have any, maybe Santa would make one for me. I knew Santa very well. He came to our house every Christmas to visit with my family and bring us gifts. He would ring a big bell and deliver presents, all while wearing a bright red coat and shiny black boots. I knew if anyone could bring me a Dalmatian puppy, he could. Since moving to America, we hadn't gotten a visit from him. Perhaps he didn't know our new address. The snow arrived, and soon we had a special visitor at my preschool. The other children pressed forward to get a good look at him. From the back of the classroom, I could see that Santa looked different. His suit wasn't bright red anymore. It was more of a deep red, almost purple, and his belt had sleigh bells on it. That couldn't be right. The reindeer wore the bells, not Santa. The man opened up his bag and handed stuffed animals to the outstretched hands of my classmates. Out came cats and dogs of all kinds and colors, the same looking stuffed animals I'd seen in the shops. Could there be a Dalmatian for me? To my amazement, he lifted out a Dalmatian puppy, a fire dog. I reached as far forward as I could, but it was given to another child in front of me. My heart began to hurt. I buried my face in my hands as I ran and hid. It seemed that Santa had changed and forgotten who I was. We were in a different part of the world with brand new people who sounded differently. If Santa had forgotten me now we'd left England, would my family there forget me also? If Dad was here, he'd make things right. He always made things right. But I didn't know when Dad would come home. He'd been in hospital a long time. Perhaps heaven was farther away than England. Maybe that's why it was taking so long for him to come home. As the tears came down, I heard a gentle voice call my name. "Stu, what's wrong?" I choked a bit as I tried to explain all the feelings in my mixed-up heart. She led me over to the unfamiliar-looking Santa as he stood alone holding his empty bag. The other children had received their animals and gone off to play. I was the only one left. Stu, tell Santa what you told me. Santa bent down to hear me better. Santa, all I want for Christmas is a Dalmatian puppy. I felt my heart breaking before I had finished speaking. His now empty bag had nothing in it for me. Santa reached to the bottom of his bag and pulled out the last stuffed animal. It was a Dalmatian puppy. I blinked through my tears in amazement. I held that Dalmatian puppy close and turned to thank Santa. But he was gone. Instead, I said a prayer thanking Heavenly Father for helping Santa remember me. I do not remember what happened to that Dalmatian puppy as I got older. Though it happened decades ago, I will never forget the peace I felt when I first held him. Someone, somewhere, was watching over me. It could have been Santa, but I believe there might have been others involved. What meant more to me than that Dalmatian was the feeling that I hadn't been forgotten. It seemed in that moment that heaven was much, much closer than England. And my dad, my best mate, was just out of sight around the corner. And in the back of the book, there's a picture. It says, Big Stu and Little Stu, off to feed the swans, winter of 1997. So like I said before, Stu is a good friend of our family, and he lost his dad just like Simon lost his dad. And all the other Pingree boys and Naomi lost their dad. So we can kind of relate to Stu, and that story is kind of special because of that connection that we have. And Ian and all the Brokaw kids lost their mom. So we can all kind of relate a little bit to that story. That's why it's so tender to my heart. But it's kind of a beautiful story, and it's neat to have something so special. So Merry Christmas.